that the man was here illegally is going to prison for 7 years. 36-year-old Antonio Wade, who was an officer with the Ruleville Police Department, got his sentence this week. He had been charged with extortion, a federal felony. Robert Stephen Wilson Jr. of Long Beach is 50 now and will be close to 70 when he has the chance to get out of prison. He has been sentenced to 40 years with 18 required to serve day for day for possessing child pornography. Wilson was caught in a sting by Attorney General Lynn Fitch's office, who says that thousands of images of child porn were found on his devices. Today, the Jackson City Council will be considering the possibility of allowing the Mississippi Museum of Art to manage the McNair Davis Planetarium when it finally reopens, reports WLBT. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WIAB. I'm Chris Davis.
With a single handshake, John Ravenstein buys millions in diamonds, and that's the buying power it takes to be Mississippi's direct diamond importer.
You see, we sell so many diamonds, the finest diamond cutters from around the world come to us.
He's got the $1 million handshake. I'm John. And I'm Rachel Ravenstein. That's why here at Juniker Jewelry, you'll shop from 10 times the loose diamonds you'll find in average jewelry stores.
Because finding just the right diamond at the right price, the perfect diamond for her, is what Juniker Jewelry is all about.
Best of all, we guarantee the lowest price in the state. We even have 12 months interest-free financing for qualified buyers.
So when you're ready, we're ready at Mississippi's direct diamond importer. And I want to shake your hand
and make her the happiest girl in the world.
Juniker Jewelry Company, Mississippi's direct diamond importer. From anywhere in Mississippi, we're at 1485 Highland Colony Parkway, just south of 463 in Madison, at JunikerJewelry.com.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are the individual views and opinions of the people expressing it and do not necessarily reflect those of this radio station, its parent, affiliated, or related entities, agents, or employees.
It feels like the world's gone a little crazy lately. You're not wrong. They think parents should have a voice. But what happens when no one's listening? Forget the noise, the narratives, and the nonsense. It's time to have real conversations, stand up, speak out, and shine a light on what's really happening inside our schools, our systems, and our government, and what it really means for your family. This is the Lindsey Beckham Show, where we believe in truth over talking points, facts over feelings, and the courage to say what others won't. Because when it comes to our kids, silence is not an option.
Welcome into the Lindsey Beckham Show. Hope everybody is having a fabulous day so far. I am super excited today because I am joined on our stream by a friend of mine, one I haven't seen in a moment. Hey, Marie.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So you guys know every day we start the show with a quote from this Live in Liberty Daily journal that my friend Marie actually penned herself, and I'm going to let her tell you all about it. But when I first started to read from this, I read the introduction and kind of how this came to be. And I actually know Marie from working with Moms for Liberty in the whole parental rights movement. And I told y'all probably the most impactful speech I think I've ever heard at our annual summits was given by you, Marie, where you talked about the difference between freedom and liberty. And so I'm also going to let you recap that, if you will. But and if you want to, can you want to read our quote today?
Oh, sure. Actually, I'm not prepared for that. Let me open the book to the correct date, because us moms, what day of the week is it? What day? What's the date? All right. Oh yeah. Okay, this one actually is a good one. This is from Roger Sherman, and the entry today is, the question is not what rights naturally belong to man, but how they may be most equally and effectively guarded in society. So he wrote that during the conventional debates.
I just love that you did all the hard work for me. So
Yeah.
when I started this show, I was doing a Madison Minute, and then we kind of fell off, and I wasn't being prepared and getting one ready. And then I saw you wrote this book. I was like, this is perfect.
Yes.
The work's done. I have a quote ready to go. I know that it's legit because you have poured so much into this, but I'm going to let you start with the whole movement, the parental rights movement, how you got involved, how you came to just love the founding fathers so
Yeah.
much.
Well, I love that you shared that. That's why you just kind of started with it and then it dropped off and now you're able to come back to it, because that's kind of the story of Live in Liberty Daily too. We started but way back in 2020. A friend of mine and I ran for election. We both lost our elections. Normal people would not say we had time on our hands, but crazy people like us, we found ourselves with some time on our hands. And one of the urges that I had was to write a book. And we ended up doing a kind of, I guess you could call it a book club. And we read the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. And the same kind of thing happened to us. We started and it was so fun and we did it. We were only going to do it monthly, but it was so much fun. We started doing it all the time. But slowly and surely life crept in and we also stopped doing it. And so I had been building this book project over time. And I ended up being diagnosed with cancer last year. And nothing like a little cancer scare to make you reassess what you want to accomplish in life and where you want to go with things. And so I decided to buckle down and finish it. And I'm grateful.
Cancer's butt, right?
I did for the second time.
We're
No more, please.
So happy for that.
Yes.
So glad that you are still with us and healthy.
Yes, but it's been a huge journey from 2020 to 2026 to kind of get here. Things generally worthwhile don't happen overnight. The parental rights movement didn't happen overnight. You and I have been through battles that took a long time. So I think consistency is key, and building something new takes time.
Absolutely. So is this something you've been working on since back then in 2020?
Yeah.
You've kind of just comprised and it was time?
Yep. So I put it aside for a couple of years, took some jobs that took a lot of my time and energy. And after the cancer scare, picked it back up and went hardcore. Thankfully, the tools that are now available to us via things like AI made my job in formatting the book a lot easier than it would have been. I had been gathering quotes for a long time, and I did gather all of the quotes myself. AI did not do that. But it was great because I didn't want to duplicate any quotes, and I also didn't want to leave anything really important out. And so I was able to, at the end, kind of upload my documentation in there and be like, am I missing something? Like, did I forget a real important founding father or a principle that's not being discussed here? And was able to plug a couple of holes I think were really needed in the manuscript.
Well, I'm so glad that you did. And I think this is something that so many Americans need as we are facing a time in our country where it is not the cool thing anymore to be patriotic. I mean, it is to me. I think it's the coolest thing in the world to love Jesus and love your country and celebrate who we are and celebrate our founding fathers. But we see so many people who are backing away from that. And so I think this is perfect for such a time as this, which we like to say, right? And tell me, when you organize this book, when you put it all together, there's a line in here that you say it's kind of like a bite-sized dose of liberty that just 30 seconds to a minute, but it keeps you connected. Yeah. How did you come about with this idea?
Yeah, so I think the key thing I learned from our experience was that it's great to be able to spend a ton of time on something or sit down and chat for a couple of hours with your friends, but no one has that time every day, all day. And like I said, consistency is key. We're not going to save America with an outburst of effort for a period of time and then everybody falling off. We have to learn to be consistent in our efforts. And so Live in Liberty was organized in a way that we kind of spread the founders out, we kind of spread the principles out so that as you touch base with them every day for a year, you're getting a full picture of what the founders' principles that drove them were like. I like to say it's like walking with the founders for a year. And I loved that we were able to incorporate, like, if it's George Washington's birthday, he has a quote on that date. So you get to connect with them in a way that maybe other things don't allow you to. I think it was really important for me to make the book less intellectual. So this isn't a civics class. It's not you're going to sit down at Liberty University and get some intense stuff about the Constitution. All of that's needed. This is for everyday life, largely for us moms who are busy, so that you can get a little dose and incorporate it in your life.
And you do get to learn as you go. There are certain things that you may have forgotten since school or may have never even been taught in school that you get to learn as you go. And I love that too, because I feel like as we get older, we stop really digging in to those facts of history and what made our country what it is today. And so how did you pick these particular quotes? I'm sure you did a whole bunch of digging and reading.
Yeah. So it was really important to me. It was interesting when I started because I had written down a bunch of quotes I liked from other people who've taught me things over time. And I started digging into some of them and I would find I can't find this quote. This may or may not have been said by this person, but I can't find it in a first-hand direct source. So it was really important for me when I started to only use proper sources. So things that can be absolutely documented, have been documented. And then I just started reading. And that was probably what took me so long, because I dig into a letter of Alexander Hamilton's and you get reading and he's so great with words, you get lost in the text, and then you got to find the little nugget that can be digested. One of the struggles for the book was picking things that were small. Some of the quotes get a little long, but I tried to really find nuggets so that it's digestible. It's hard to read some of they wrote in a different way back then. They spoke in a different way back then. So it was really important to find stuff that spoke to me and my soul from firsthand sources and then make it as digestible as humanly possible.
Also, and we kind of talked about this a little bit, but if you had to say who this is for and where can they get it, what would be your response to that?
Yeah, I would say the target demographic is us moms, because we are the ones, we're the heart of the home. I love the phrase, the hand that rocks the cradle, something about determines the fate of the nation, right? It's really important. Mothers are important. We play a role in our family. We play a role that sometimes the education system has taken away from us in educating our children. So that's the core demographic, but it could really be used by anybody. I see elected officials. I'd love if they would start their meetings with a little note from a founding father, anchor their proceedings in the things that are the foundation of our nation. It could be a teenager who just wants to touch base with things. It could really be for anybody, but the moms are my heart and soul. And so that's what it's kind of targeted toward.
I say all the time, if you want to get something done, go find a mom, because we get it done. Especially when it's something that affects our children and their futures, we will make sure that we get it done. And I know that you and I know that too well, oh so well. But, one other thing that you did with this book is that you made it into almost a journal. So there's questions that come with each quote daily, and they're not going to take up a whole lot of your time. It's just 3 questions. But where did that idea come from? Because it's brilliant, because you're able to take the quote and apply it into daily life into 2026, even though this have been written in the 1700s.
Yeah, I think it came from my first couple of times sharing a quote from a founder with people and getting the kind of deer in headlights because they speak differently. And so I knew that it was going to be important to make it applicable, to point out why this is important. So if they're talking about, like Roger Sherman is asking questions that draw the principles out of the quote so that people can use it to improve their lives. A lot of it is not about, I think it's really important for people to understand the book is not political. It is about your life. So there's a lot of questions in there that are specifically about, am I doing this? Am I living my life righteously? What does religion mean to me? What does freedom mean to me? What does liberty mean to me? How am I using this principle? It's very self-reflective. I love that you called it a journal. It can be very journal-like for people, but it's almost devotional-like too. And it allows people to focus and hopefully grow.
Yes, I love that. And where can people find it? How can people get their own copy? And you can also do this online as well, right?
Yeah, so you can visit liveinlibertydaily.com. You can find the book there. You can find our text service there. I think we'll talk a little bit about that. But you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter and all the socials.
Well, I'm excited about it. I love, haven't had it long because you just released it. What day did it come out?
Just before the 4th of July.
So I had this incident and I was in the hospital for a few days. So I really I dove into it. I said, I have something to do now. And I was laying in the hospital bed by myself and didn't have any kids running around keeping me crazy busy. And so I kind of went back and started from the beginning So I'm going to need you to do one every year now. So then January, there will
Sounds
be
like
a
a
new
plan.
one that you can release. And speaking of freedom and liberty, so if you want to recap what that means and the difference, because I feel like so many people don't understand the difference between liberty and freedom. And I don't even know that I did until listening to you really compare the two and what they both mean. So is there a way you could recap that for us?
Absolutely. Yeah. Live in Liberty Daily was named after Liberty for a reason, the same way that Moms for Liberty was. Liberty and freedom are not the same thing. They're used very interchangeably nowadays, but back in the founding era, they were not. Liberty was the emphasis. It is the thing they talked about. Freedom was rarely used. It was used in very particular circumstances like freedom of speech. But it really was, the focus was liberty, because liberty means using your freedom or rightly ordering your freedom. It's living, in my humble opinion, righteously. So you have the freedom in the United States to do whatever you want. You should not do whatever you want. Our human natures are sometimes flawed, and we should not do the things that our natural man wants us to do. So using our agency that God has given us to live in a correct way is liberty. It makes us more free over time. It gives us joy in a way that freedom cannot. Freedom to do whatever you want does not feed your soul. Using that freedom righteously does.
I love that. I think that's the wisdom in knowing the difference and being able to explain the difference between the two words and what those meant to our founding fathers. I think just really puts things into perspective, and breaking it down that way is eye-opening in a lot of ways. We got to take a break, but y'all stay with us because we're going to talk more about Marie's book and her, I call it a journal, but her website, Live in Liberty, and what this means and what it should mean to all Americans who should want to know more about the way this country was founded and what our founding fathers intended for the United States of America, what I believe is the greatest country to ever exist. I know you agree with me on that, Marie. But y'all stay with us. We're going to be right back here on the Lindsey Beckham Show, 103.9 WYAB. 103.9 WYAB.
103.9 WYAB.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to ring partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Ream and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
Are you thinking about your next vehicle purchase? Hi, I'm Casey Ellis, owner of Ellis Autoplex in Brandon. If you've been searching for a clean diesel or half-ton truck, your search is over. At Ellis Autoplex, we specialize in the vehicles people actually want. Whether you're upgrading, buying your first truck, or looking for something the big dealerships don't have, Ellis Autoplex is worth the drive. Stop by and see why more and more people across the Southeast are choosing Little Truck City. Follow us on Facebook or shop online at ellisautoplex.com.
Health has always been reactive, focused on fixing problems as they happen. But with Blue Primary Care, we're taking a proactive approach, working with you to help you understand your health and empowering you to be healthy. It's time to prioritize you, your health, and your life. The results? Less worrying and more living. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Mississippi. It's good to be blue.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Are you craving a home-cooked meal without the hassle? Come over to McBee's Bar and Grill in Ridgeland for their Blue Plate lunch specials. Served up every weekday, at McBee's is a different entree every day. Chicken spaghetti on Mondays, beef tip Tuesday, pork chop Wednesday, spaghetti Thursday, and catfish Fridays. And McBee's Blue Plate lunch comes with 2 classic Southern sides, in cornbread or a roll. McBee's specials are served every weekday from 11 to 2. McBee's, buzzing the res since 1982.
Hi, this is Rita Jensen with Remax Connection. I've been selling real estate now for well over 30 years, and I typically use Chadwick Home Inspectors. And Chad has done many, many home inspections for me.
They are pretty much from roof to foundation. Most people are surprised at just how thorough these home inspections can be. Been working with Rita almost a decade now. Very rarely does she let a deal fall apart. She can usually find a way to negotiate where both parties are satisfied.
RitaJensen.net.
Looking to make technology work for your business instead of the other way around? Visit brentech.ms today. From reliable network infrastructure and wireless internet to cloud or on-premise backups, Brentech has solutions that keep your business connected, secure, and running smoothly. Don't let tech headaches slow you down. Discover how Brentech can simplify and elevate your business at brentech.ms. That's brentech.ms. Brentech, technology made easy.
Welcome back into the Lindsey Beckham Show. We're live here in the WYAB studios. We are also streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. You can call into the show today. 601-879-0002 is the number. Or you can text in to the Lindsey Beckham Show text line. That number 601-879-4648. I am honored to be joined on our live stream, which you can, again, watch at Facebook, YouTube, or X. But we've got my friend Marie with us, and she has written a book. Y'all have heard me read from it every day for the last several weeks, Live in Liberty Daily. And I've talked to you guys about the Madison Minute and what that means. It's something that kind of resonates with us. That was a quote from one of our founding fathers, and that's how we at Moms for Liberty open all of our meetings. And so I wanted to be able to do that on the show, open the show with a little nugget-sized, bite-piece sized of wisdom from our founding fathers, because I think it's so important that we remember what their vision was for our country. And when I speak at different events, I've spoken at several Republican women's groups, and I've always opened with a Madison Minute. And my favorite Madison Minute, and the one that I always use when I'm speaking to a group of people, is a Thomas Paine quote. And if there must be trouble, let it come in my day so that my children may have peace. And I feel like that's the reason why I'm even sitting behind a microphone today, hosting a radio show and speaking to groups of people was never on my bingo card for my adult life. But here we are, because I saw things that were affecting my children. And if there's anything that I can do, if there's a legacy that I can leave, I want it to be that I leave this world a better place for them than the way they came into it. So I love that quote is used. Marie, it's used it's a day in February, correct?
Yep. And I've got a couple of good questions I think are really important for people to think through. I think you and I definitely could discuss some of these, because what troubles we're willing to face today so that our children don't have to face them in the future is something I think we should all ask ourselves.
Well, I mean, sometimes it means you're put on a hate list or a hate map, or the Southern Poverty Law Center is coming after you. Sometimes it means that you're not the most loved person at your children's school, because you call out the things that you see and you're not afraid to voice that. Sometimes the school board hates to see me coming, but I'm going to continue to show up and speak out on things that I know are affecting children today and affecting my children. And again, let me carry that burden. I feel like it's my job as their mom to make sure I'm doing all the things to make the world a better place for them.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's one of the other questions on that entry is, what is the duty of parents today? And I don't know. When you get pregnant and you start to have children, people want to ask about what you're going to name them. Are they going to be a boy or a girl? What color are you going to paint the nursery? Rarely do we discuss what the duty of a parent is beyond what government insists you do, feed them and clothe them and house them. What is your duty as a parent? And I think that's a very valid thing to stop and assess, and what risks come along with that duty. Because I think we've lost in culture today. We've become so accepting. You just have to be kind and nice to everybody, and you should be. You should be Christ-like, in my opinion. But does that acceptance mean that you are shirking your duty with your children? Because it's not my duty to be my child's best friend. It's not my duty to accept everything that my child does. It's my duty to raise a good citizen. It's my duty to raise that child in the gospel, in my opinion. We have to understand what our duty is, or we will risk letting culture creep in and tell us what it is.
I completely agree. And I think in a lot of cases, parents have become complacent in this country. We just automatically believe that our pediatrician is going to tell us all the things that are good for our kid. And we automatically believe that our public school system is going to educate our child in the best way possible. And they have the best interest for our child at heart. And sometimes that's not always the case, as we're learning, as we're seeing more and more today. We had a woman who I just adored. She was the matriarch, I think, of the Republican women here in the state of Mississippi, who just passed away. And I was at her funeral, and the one statement that she wanted to leave with people was to teach your children to love Jesus and to love America. And if they love Jesus, they will love America. And I don't know that I can say it any better than that. I feel like to answer that question, that's my duty as a mom.
Totally agree. Totally agree. I think it's a little bit overwhelming for people nowadays because there are so many issues that they maybe have thought about their duty, or they would like to think about their duty, but it's hard to pick and choose which things you're willing to deal with now so that your kids don't have to deal with them later. So for example, I think one of the things when we talk about our duty as parents, we can think about the stuff that's in education, or like the transgender movement, things like that are very culturally present. But one of them that I don't think we talk about enough that creeps in and will absolutely affect our children is our debt. America has nearly $40 trillion in debt. And if we are passing that on because we can't cinch our belt buckles and tighten up our spending and pinch pennies now, then our children are the ones that are going to have to deal with that in their day, and the grandchildren beyond that. And so there's a lot of things that we're called to do, which are going to build now is important.
Absolutely. And I think it's also, as a parent, my duty to instill in my children the duty for them to get out and vote, because there were people who went through a whole lot, who risked a whole lot, who gave up a whole lot, everything, in fact, so that we have the rights and freedoms that we do today, and so that we are able to go inside that voting booth and cast the votes for the people who we think are going to make the best decisions for our country and for the future of our country. So that's another thing that I think as a parent, it's my duty to make sure my children know how important it is that they get out and voice their opinions when it comes to who represents us.
Absolutely. And beyond that, teaching them. So the habit of taking them with you to vote, that's great. Teaching them to vote is great. I think we fall flat sometimes in not teaching our children how to research the people on the ballot. So we want them to vote. We tell them it's important to vote, but it's bad to have people go into the ballot box who don't know who they're voting for. If you're standing in line waiting to vote and you don't know anything about those candidates, you're casting a ballot that you maybe shouldn't cast. Vote for the people you know stuff about, be educated, and teaching our children where to find good information, what sources to turn to trust, how to meet local candidates so that they can be confident in who they're casting ballots for is important as well.
Marie, you're telling me, so the mailers that I find in my mailbox, they don't always tell the truth?
Shocking, they don't.
Absolutely, and I completely agree, and I think during this day and age, the resources that we have at our fingertips, everyone has a smartphone in their hands, and so to not be educated and when you walk in there to vote is unacceptable, in my opinion. And I think that's one thing that we should be handing down to our children, is that, like you just said, you have to do the research. You have to know what issues are important to you and where those candidates stand on those issues so that you can make the best decision, the most informed decision. And those decisions, those votes that they make, affect us in our day-to-day life.
Yeah, and I don't know, you've probably seen this yourself, Lindsey, but the further up the political ladder we go, the more information there is. So everybody knows everything there is to know about Donald Trump. He's the president. He's been famous for a large majority of his life. You can find a lot of stuff, true and false, about President Trump. But as you go down the ballot, the information gets harder and harder to find and harder to verify. And in my opinion, a lot of it at the bottom of the ballot, there's even more misinformation than there is at the top, because you get a handful of people for and against whatever candidate that get on social media and say, this person stands for blah, 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 and this person is for this. And maybe they don't really know. And then a lot of people rely on what they hear and see on social media rather than actually getting out there and doing the hard work of actually meeting the candidates. There's nothing that does you as much good as shaking the hand of the person that's running for office, hearing them answer questions directly in the same room as them, and knowing them personally when you go in to cast the ballot.
And that's how you hold them accountable. And that's what we have to do. It's our job as American citizens. And I think it shocks me a lot of the time, Marie, that the most local elections are the ones that affect us in our daily lives the most. And those are the ones that the fewest amount of registered voters get out and vote in. I know in school board elections, I think the latest data shows maybe 3 to 7% of registered voters get out and vote in those elections that are not being held along with a presidential election. And that's so sad to me. I think as American citizens, we got to do better than that.
We do. And I think depending on what party you're part of, engaging in your primary elections is just as important, because most primary elections are decided by a handful of members of the party as well. And that's when your max decisions are available to you. Once it comes to the November ballot, a lot of things have been taken off the plate for you. For example, here where I live, your school boards can be decided in August. So you may, if you don't in the August, may not get to cast vote. It may have already been decided for you by the time you come to the November ballot box.
Exactly. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Marie. What's your favorite quote?
Oh,
that one from the book?
So hard.
I know you've got so many of them.
I think there's a Martha Washington one, if I'm not mistaken, that I put in here that I really like. She's got a couple. I don't know if I put this one in there though, but she's got one that is about one of the sweetest feelings in life is like feeling the hand of the Lord on your shoulder, like he's guiding you. I really like as I went through, it's funny because I have a couple of really close friends that I put their favorite quote on their birthday in the book. And when it came down to it, I was like, oh, I should put my favorite one on my birthday. And I was like, nope, I'm just not going to try because I can't do it. I can't pick a favorite. There's so many good ones. And I think it's great that you have a favorite and people should find a favorite. That is a task I'm going to take away from this so that the next time somebody asks me, I have some kind of better answer.
Well, no, I love that. And I especially love yesterday, Mercy Otis Warren was the quote. And I love being able to read from the founding women because we don't hear from them nearly enough. And I love that. That's one thing at the very beginning that Moms for Liberty that you guys decided to do was to really honor the women, the founding mothers of our country who risked so much as well to make America great.
Absolutely. They had some of my favorite things to read as I was researching the book were the letters between like John Adams and his wife, or, the wives between themselves, like Mercy Otis Warren and Abigail Adams wrote back and forth a lot. And it's fascinating to see because the women were at home and they were sometimes only getting snippets of what was going on. And they'd ask intriguing questions and they'd want to know stuff. And then they'd spread the word among themselves. And the women played just as much of an important role as the men did.
Absolutely. We're going to take another break. And then when we get back, I want you to tell us about the text program and how you can truly get involved with living in liberty daily. We'll be right back here. We're joined by my friend Marie. This is the Lindsey Beckham Show, 103.9 WYAB. Stay with us. On WYAB. Stay with us.
103.9 WYAB.
When it comes to protecting all the things that matter in your world, generations of folks in central Mississippi have trusted Allstate agent Mark Dwyron. Mark knows the right coverage with the right price, helps you feel secure and protected. For decades, Mark's been a trusted agent protecting you against mayhem that is unpredictable. And he's always just a moment away when you need him. Mark Dwyron. For auto, home, life, and more, you're in good hands with Allstate. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Washington, D.C. is saying a final farewell to longtime South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. A ceremony at first inside the Capitol Rotunda today. Lawmakers and family paying respects ahead of his funeral at the National Cathedral. Here's ABC's Jay O'Brien.
The first of two funerals for the late Senator Lindsey Graham will be here at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. Before that, he'll have a private ceremony at the Rotunda of the United States Capitol. Graham will be eulogized here at the National Cathedral by his close friend, President Donald Trump, who has said that the South Carolina Republican was like family to him.
Ukraine's President Zelensky and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also attending Graham's funeral. Wildfires continue to ravage parts of Spain and France. Hundreds of thousands are fleeing their homes and towns. Here in the U.S., cleanup is underway following a string of tornadoes that tore through the Midwest. Those storms now targeting the Northeast today. This is ABC News.
All Britain's Jewelers. When love requires a gift, nothing says it better than All Britain's. Since 1920, we've been part of your family. From weddings and anniversaries to holidays, we've been there for every special occasion. At All Britain's, we value your trust. Every gift, whether large or small, is a reflection of our commitment to quality and excellence. There's a reason we're still Mississippi's foremost diamond merchant. Let us show you why. All Britain's Jewelry, 4460 Old Canton Road in Jackson. All Britain's Jewelers.
Hello, friends and neighbors. This is David Frederick. I'm here to tell you about the latest development here at Frederick Sales and Service in Brandon. In an effort to always bring you the very best brands, I am proud to announce that Frederick Sales and Service is Central Mississippi's newest dealer for Skag zero-turn mowers and products. We have deals on one of the industry's best brands of zero-turn mowers, Skag. You can buy now and pay later because 0% financing is also available at Frederick's. Come see our inventory. We're here serving you for over 3 decades in Brandon since 1993.
Acme Pizza and Daiquiris is leveling up. A whole new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris is now open at the Reservoir at Beethoven's Boardwalk in Ridgeland, right next door to Cock of the Walk. And the new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris will have all of your old favorites too, like the Acme Dynamite Balls and Garlic Knots, and the best specialty pizzas ever, like the Pig, the Sergeant Pepperoni, the Surf and Turf, and lots more. Come to the all-new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris location on the Res in Ridgeland, next door to Cock of the Walk.
Yazoo Valley Electric Power Association wants you to stay away from downed power lines. Downed power lines carry the risk of deadly electric shock, even if the broken wire is not sparking. If a wire is crossing a road or driveway, avoid the area and keep others away. If you see a downed power line, back away and call your utility company or 911. When you call, be prepared to provide the specific address or location of the downed power line so a repair crew can get there as quickly as possible. This safety message brought to you by Yazoo Valley Electric Power Association.
The only thing hotter than Mississippi in the summer is a Mississippi summer when the power goes out. This summer, be ready. Call Cowden Electric. They can install a permanent standby generator that automatically kicks on the second the power fails and keeps your whole house running. Hey, you already got a portable generator? Call Cowden Electric and let them set it up so you can safely plug it into your breaker box and power just the essentials. Don't wait for the next outage. Call Cowden Electric today or visit CowdenElectric.com and stay powered up when the grid goes down. CowdenElectric.com.
Sun coming up.
Welcome back into the Lindsey Beckham Show, live here in the WYAB studios. We have been talking with my friend Marie, who wrote the book. You know it. I read from it every day, Live in Liberty Daily. I know sometimes it's hard for us as busy moms, busy parents, just busy in general. Life is always so busy. We're always in a hurry. And sometimes we don't know why. It's like that old country music song, I'm in a hurry and don't know why. But it's so true. So imagine if you just get a text in the middle of the day that kind of reminds you how you can stay grounded in the words of our founders. You don't even have to remember to get your book out and read the quote. Is that something that's possible, Marie?
It absolutely is. It's why when I finished the book, we were in final editing and designing of the cover and things like that. And I'm like, I personally have a stack of books beside my bed that I have every intention of reading, and eventually I will, but it takes me a really long time. And sometimes I buy books and I never read them. And that's everyone's prerogative. You can buy my book, read it. That's great. But I would prefer that the material actually. I knew there was a whole demographic of people that would miss the content if I did not provide it in a way that's kind of foolproof. And it's been interesting to me to see once I was done with the book, which was kind of my baby. It took years for me to do. The text has been more helpful to me than I thought it would be. I get it myself every single day, and it is great. It comes at 1:00 Eastern Standard Time for me. And it makes me stop in the middle of my crazy busy workday and pause and read something that's meaningful and grounds me in principles that are important to me and gives me something, just one of the 3 questions for the day to think about. So it is a foolproof method to help you begin to live in liberty every single day.
I love that. And I'm going to get you to tell us how people can access that. But I also want people to know, why are you so busy with your work, Marie? What do you do?
Yeah. Well, I do a lot of various things, but I currently work for a political firm. So I help people who are running for office. I help manage some 501c4s. I do a lot of stuff. I have 3 children. I am still in post-cancer treatments. So I have a lot of things going and a lot of stuff in my life. And so this text helps me every single day. You can sign up. There's a free trial. You can try it for 13 days at liveinlibertydaily.com. And I think with those 13 days, you'll see how impactful it really can be and how much of it just a breath of fresh air in the middle of a crazy day. A little quote from Roger Sherman can be.
So if someone subscribes, what do they get compared to just buying the book? And how much would it cost someone?
Yeah, so the book is great. The book is available on my website. You can get that on Amazon as well. The text, though, is very simple. You get a text every single day. It's the wording in the text is the same. An image comes in with it that has the quote. So the image is what changes every single day. It has a quote. It has the source from the quote, and then it has a single question you can ponder about the quote every single day. So it's a very easy way to kind of get that dose. It's $6.99 if you're subscribing monthly, or there's a discount if you want to go annually. It's a lot cheaper that way.
And I mean, even if it's monthly, $6.99 a month, that's less than your Starbucks order, one Starbucks order usually. So it's affordable. And this is something, again, you don't have to carve out the time in your day to sit down with the book. You could be at a red light, in the car, between dropping a kid off here or picking a kid up there, and get this text. And then while you're driving, think about the question, ponder on that question that it's asking you, and it's able to keep you plugged into what our country was founded for and what it's supposed to be all about.
Yeah, it can help you too. I think I had a friend the other day that made a comment about how infrequent it has become for families to have dinner together. And it made me think about this. You get this text in the middle of the day. Maybe as a mom, you've had a chance to think about it. But when you gather your family together at night, it gives you an excuse to sit down together around your table, read the quote, and discuss the question. And, your teenagers may roll their eyes at first because that's what they do. But eventually they get used to it and they participate in the discussion and they soak stuff in even when it appears they're not. And it doesn't take up the entire dinner conversation. You can get back to things they actually want to talk about. But it is a great thing to anchor other elements of your life in.
And especially with kids, to give them that foundation that, again, they may not be getting in school today. We've seen so much happening within the public school system and things that are coming down the pipeline. I would much rather my kids spend time reading a quote from one of our founders and discussing questions on how to apply that quote in their daily lives than play with some gender doll with interchangeable anatomy parts. I mean, I'm just going to say, I think that would be definitely prepare them to have a patriotic spirit. And we need more of that in the world today.
We do. And I think that's the difference between the book where you as an individual can read it and write. It's got space in there for you to write your answers to some of the questions as you're pondering things. It becomes kind of personal to you. The text is, you don't do that in the text. So it's a little more generic. You can sit down and talk to people about it. You can bring it up in your girlfriends are going out to dinner, that you can talk about it there. But there's going to be, I have a weekly book that's going to be coming out next that dives a little bit more into some of this stuff, so that if a parent, for example, wanted to do a civics lesson at home because they feel like they're not getting that in the public school system, or they're a homeschool parent already, they can use that and it can do great things for them. A church group could do that as well, but it'll just be a little more structure than the book, which is just a single quote.
I love that. Look, Marie, before you know it, you're going to have a whole civics curriculum out there for homeschool families, or again, maybe for public school families who feel like they're not getting what they need when it comes to the history of our country in the public school system. And they're not being taught, and I'm not going to say this for every school, but in a lot of schools, they're not being taught to have pride in their country the way they should be anymore. It's not happening. And this is a way that you can supplement whatever history class or civics class they have at school.
Yeah. And one of my dreams, my kids go to an excellent charter school, and they do a very good job of keeping the American history alive and making sure that they're grounded in patriotic principles. But it would be great if public schools started every morning with those announcements and read a quote. That way all the kids get a little dose of patriotism every morning.
I love that. I absolutely love that. They should be made to do that. Maybe I'll take that to the legislature this year. Maybe we'll pass a law that says that they must read something from one of our founders every morning. That would be incredible. And I guess I haven't mentioned this, but yeah, Marie, you said your kids are in a great school. Marie lives in the free state of Florida, where their governor has made sure that, or done his best to make sure that our public schools are following guidelines and not indoctrinating, educating, not indoctrinating. It's a real issue these days. Truly is.
And even though I'm in this free state of Florida, we still have issues. So I know lots of people loved to move, but it is still an issue everywhere. Constant vigilance is required to keep your children safe and to keep America thriving.
1,000,000%. I tell people all the time when they say that can't happen here, this is Mississippi. I'm like, let me show you something. I beg to differ. It can happen here, and it's happening everywhere. So the best thing that we can do as parents, again, I believe is just teaching them to have pride in their country and about the founding of America. And we're going to take our last break, but when we get back, I have one last question for Marie, and I want to make sure that she's able to tell everyone again how to get the book, where they can find her, where they can subscribe, because it is so important now more than ever for such a time as this that we know what our founding fathers, the intent and the vision that they had for our country, and that we have pride in that, because that's what's truly going to make America great again, in my opinion. So y'all stay with us. We're going to be right back here on the Lindsey Beckham Show, WYAB 1039. .1039.
WYAB.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
When it comes to protecting all the things that matter in your world, generations of folks in central Mississippi have trusted Allstate agent Mark Dwyron. Mark knows the right coverage with the right price, helps you feel secure and protected. For decades, Mark's been a trusted agent protecting you against mayhem that is unpredictable, and he's always just a moment away when you need him. Mark Dwyron. For auto, home, life, and more, you're in good hands with Allstate. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability.
Have you been injured through no fault of your own? Do you know your rights? Don Evans does. Do you really believe that the insurance company would disclose all information to you? Don Evans will make sure that you are fully informed. It costs nothing to discuss your case. From car wrecks to malpractice, Don Evans will make you and your family whole again. Don Evans won't ever charge unless he collects for you. Call Don for a free, no-obligation consultation at 601-969-2006.
You can show your pride and patriotism in honor of the 250th birthday of this great nation by proudly flying a flag. And a complete flag source on I-55 in Jackson is the place to find it. All sizes for all purposes. And they have the official 250-year celebration flag. Have a look at CompleteFlags.com. That's CompleteFlags.com.
Need equipment that works as hard as you do? Come see me, Noah Sullivan, at H&H Chief Sales in Carthage. Thousands of you have already made the short drive to see us at H&H for the state's best deals on CM truck beds, Big Tex trailers, Wells Fargo enclosed trailers, and even rugged Candy electric utility vehicles. At H&H, our equipment is built for the farm, job site, hunting camp, or anywhere around your property. So visit me, Noah Sullivan, at H&H Chief Sales on Highway 35 North in Carthage, or online anytime at hhchiefsales.com.
Here's what they're saying about Corcoran Door Company.
I'm going to yell out to one of your sponsors here, Corcoran Door. When the guy came out here, instead of just trying to throw a door up, he was looking at the way the house was facing. Man, with this double garage here on the south side, you might want to consider a insulated door. I came in earlier today about 2:30. The car thermometer said 99 degrees. The thermometer inside the garage was 82.
That's why they've been around 50 years.
Yeah.
Corkanddoor.com. CORKERN door.com.
A funny thing happens to a lot of men. One day you're the guy carrying the ice chest, loading the truck, and helping everybody move. Then one day, you're looking for a place to sit down. If your energy, focus, and drive aren't what they used to be, talk to Live Better Men's Health and Wellness. Real answers, personalized treatment, a better way forward. Living better starts at livebettermen.com. That's livebettermen.com.
From Jacksontown to the radio, this is the Lindsey Beckham Show.
Welcome back into the last few minutes of the Lindsey Beckham Show on this Tuesday afternoon. I want to thank our guest, Marie Rogerson, for being here with us, author of Live in Liberty Daily. Marie, who should subscribe and how do they subscribe?
Yeah, I think anybody who cares about America should subscribe. They can visit liveinlibertydaily.com. They can sign up there. They'll get a free trial, and I think it will change their lives. Nations don't lose their founding principles all at once. They are lost gradually over time, and habit has to be the antidote to that. And a habit is hard. Building a new habit is a challenge. So a text coming into your phone and infusing your life with just a smidge of hope and founding principles every single day, I think at the end of your 13 days, you'll have seen an impact and understand why. We're encouraging you to sign up now.
Absolutely. So again, liveinlibertydaily.com. You can order the book there, or you can also get the book on Amazon, but you can also subscribe to the text service. And again, they get 13 days for free to check it out and see if it's something you're interested in. After that, it's monthly, less than your Starbucks order. So you are gaining a lot more than that small monthly price. And if you subscribe for a year at a time, you get a discount on that as well. So Marie, what would you tell parents if you could give parents advice, or you could tell them what you want them to do today? What would you tell them?
Yeah, my piece of advice would be you're more capable than you believe. I think culture, our schools, one of the beautiful things about kind of in the industrialization and innovation that has happened in America is that we've become specialists, right? I go and do my job. Someone else is a doctor. Someone else is a lawyer. I don't have to learn those skill sets. But one of the things that it's done is it's parsed out a lot of the elements of what parents did when we didn't have it. And so all these little bits and pieces have been taken away from us. And now we're left with, many of us, if your kids go to regular, public school, they leave very early in the morning and they come back and you get a couple of hours with them every night. And remembering that you are capable and you are your child's best teacher. You are your child's best instructor. You are the person who knows and loves them the best. And hopefully Live in Liberty Daily will help you find some principles that they need to be instilled with and make you a little bit more of a confident parent.
I love that because it is the fundamental right of the parent to direct our children, raise our children in the way that we see fit. And that doesn't mean just in one area or another, but in all areas. The family is the first institution of God, our creator. And that's where our rights come from. I think a lot of people fail to realize that our rights don't come from government. They come from God, our creator. So therefore, government cannot take our rights away because they were not the ones who gave them to us. And I think we've got to instill those nuggets of wisdom into our children so that they know how this country was founded. They know what their rights are, and they know that it's great to be prideful in our country. So we only have about 20 seconds left. Marie, is there anything else you want to tell us?
Nope. I think that's one of the threads that runs through the book. God gave us our rights, not government. And hopefully people will visit Live in Liberty Daily. And I'm so appreciative for you, Lindsey, sharing it on your show and inviting me on.
Absolutely. Liveinlibertydaily.com. Y'all go check it out. Thank you so much, Marie.